was about part two.
Yeah, part one is the one where he's a pedophile. Part two is the one about the lighting stream. That's why we're watching this.
The better one.
Yeah, this is the one where like I actually know like all this shit behind this. We're gonna watch the second part of Marshall Manson's expose on why TJ's a douchebag. You'll notice that my criticisms of TJ and Marshall's criticisms of TJ are all from completely different perspectives, right? Like you can understand Marshall is coming at him like trying to cancel him for being a fucking like sex pest and shit. And if he legitimately is those things and all, you know, the power in the world to Marshall, good for him. But my issues with TJ are purely philosophical and political. And I think he's a douchebag for those reasons, I guess. But I don't know too much about him as far as like the things that Marshall talks about here. But I do know a bit just from my research this last year. I looked into the accusations that were made against Ben. This video is not going to be about them really, other than what Marshall goes into here, and I'll comment on that when it comes up. But I am considering doing a review of the actual stream where Jamie Darkay has Taylor on to make the accusations and kind of go point by point. Basically, though, it seems like there is no evidence that Ben did Taylor. There's no evidence for that we have. And you know, there wouldn't be, right? So it doesn't really make sense to look for evidence for that. But what we do have is evidence that shows that Taylor specifically flew out to Santa Fe to sleep with Ben, recalled sleeping with Ben, was an enthusiastic participant in their relationship that weekend, and tried to have subsequent meetups with Ben since. And that does kind of contradict the narrative in her stream, in that it shows that she remembers sleeping with him that weekend and was a willing, enthusiastic participant in it. You know, there's also inconsistencies with her story, like for example the amount of days that she was in Santa Fe, or there's like kind of an odd thing where she says that Ben deleted the messages for her on her app, but it doesn't seem like the specific app would give someone the ability to delete the messages from another person's end of the app, kind of. So if you delete a message in that particular app, you can delete your own messages, but then it'll still show like the other person's like one-sided chat log. Basically, it doesn't seem like there's a way for Ben to delete her side of the chat log. Is just what
without it saying message deleted.
Right, but I mean, she would still have the chat log. It would just be all her messages in that case.
Yep.
If that were the case. So, I mean, we do have like those kind of things that do kind of show holes in her story. And you couple that, you know, all the best evidence that we do have suggests that there are inconsistencies in her story, and that Ben did not, because of the way she spoke about their encounter in their DMs, which are leaked and which are part of the public record. I'll link the sources for, there's a few sources I'm going to link. I don't want to come out strongly and say like Taylor is making I don't know that 100%, right? This is something we have to be agnostic about, but it is something that we should still look for evidence and try to scrutinize with evidence. So I want to say that there is no good evidence that Ben Taylor, and there is good evidence that Taylor consented to their encounter. And there is also good evidence that Taylor's stories are filled with at least inaccuracies, even if they are mundane inaccuracies. Anyways, we're probably not going to get into that, but if we do end up making that stream, I do have all the evidence. I have DMs. You know, there's a lot of things we can go over, I guess, in that if we end up taking things in that direction. But so Marshall touches on that in this video.
Part one. With that said, I want to address right away that the comments will be disabled here this time, but you're welcome to ask questions in my community tab. And that's also why I'm going to force you guys to go out into your communities after this drops and actually have these discussions amongst yourselves, because I told you guys I'm peacing out after this.
And he has been true to that. He hasn't posted again on this channel since this video.
And there are private servers and there are other
This is actually so this video is the reason the kitty nipples thing even got like brought up in the first place. This is, if you go back,
the
video that
inception
started
of our
all.
channel.
Yeah. So if you go back and watch the first video, this is the post that Kitty Nipples was commenting on, trying to discredit Marshall Manson, and that's like what started this whole thing.
Options to discuss things, which I would personally recommend, considering that they run cover on their own hater subs and stuff. And finally, before we get into chapter,
and we know that's true. We know they do. We know that DFF polices their fan community. You know, Paul blocks and bans everyone who criticizes him. He has his sycophants who run his other fan communities that do the same thing. When someone makes good criticisms against Paul, tries to silence them. They do run cover. We've caught his wife, you know, or someone pretending to, well, for sure we've caught his wife at least once, right? At least once in the hater sub trying to, poison the well against Marshall here, and then alts who are pretending to be them, who are their sycophants, who will go and like start arguments in their defense, and it's laughable, and we can all tell what's going on.
Chapter 2, I just want to thank
But so that's true. So far the one claim Marshall Manson has made in this, that they do run cover on their social media, that's 100% true.
So to anyone who doesn't know who I am, I'm a musician, and I used to make music for the DP and DFF communities under the name Marshall Manson.
Salty Paul.
Because of the creative work I've done with and for them, I've had many interactions to varying degrees with all of these people, and I've been very involved in different sub-communities at different points. I've been privy to a lot of conversations. Considering I'm really leaving the community, I figure I might as well contribute what I know to both communities who've been kept in the dark for varying reasons, so that you can all know the truth about what really happens and how that has played out since. Some of this will be speculation, and I will do my best to highlight my own biases as I go throughout, just for the sake of fairness.
Basically, Marshall is just doing disclaimers. This is his own speculation. He's not accusing anyone of anything specifically. Disclaimers. This is all just public speculation. He's leaving the community, and he just wants to put this out there before he walks away from these two fan communities forever.
Those of you that have been paying attention over the years, and you'll know I'm telling the truth, because you'll definitely hear pieces of this story. You'll recognize parts of this just from paying attention and hearing things and seeing posts or whatever. You'll definitely start to put things together. So people that know their shit will know I'm telling the truth. But anyways, so let's get into the breakup. So if I think of something pertinent, I'll obviously say it in the video. I'll let everyone know so I can see what I can back up here just from what I've found. The reason that DP broke up is because of a few factors. To an extent, the dudes have been honest, when they've said that there definitely were some major creative differences. But the specific event that triggered the actual breakup is linked to something often referred to as the Lost episode or the Lost stream. So one night, the guys, with the exception of Ben, went live. In this stream, they eventually got to a point where they reacted to a Brett Keane video in which he alleged that Ben had cheated on his ex-wife. And at some point, I can't remember if it was after...
So they're talking about the Plan C stream. So if you used to watch DP back in the day, you'll probably know what this is referring to. Ben, his excuse for this is that the guy showed a dildo, and Twitch is like, we'll ban the channel for that. So he said he didn't take it down because of Brett Keane, the Brett Keane segment they do. He took it down because of the dildo. And so, can you tell me that Twitch will ban someone for having a dildo in their stream?
As of like 2015 TOS?
This would have been 2017.
For sure now.
This would have been 2017.
I'm not familiar with Twitch's entire TOS, but I know for sure now they would ban you for that.
Yeah, I think they've always been a little more strict than you. I don't even think you can show dildos on YouTube, can you?
Oh, you can, as long as it's in an educational setting.
Like how to use a dildo? Like
you can show nudity on YouTube as long as you're like.
Oh yeah, like that guy who nared his asshole.
I don't know about that.
You've never seen that? Wait, can we get away with showing that?
Videos on YouTube.
Hold on.
I mean,
he was ashamed, what he'd done, and he was trying to keep it out of the public eye. To Ben, if you're watching this, best so far to keep you all out of this, but for the sake of objectivity, I have to bring this stuff up.
Yeah. So essentially, what he's saying here is that Ben was unfaithful to the women he was with during the Drunken Peasants time, which that's true also from what I've seen.
You and I don't have our worst moments put on the internet.
And I think Ben would admit that, I think.
Oh, is what Ben did wrong? Yeah, absolutely. And
I mean, it's not criminal though, right? Like being an unfaithful partner and cheating on a spouse or whatever. I still don't know for sure if he was ever married or what. Cheating on your partner is wrong, right? It probably makes you kind of like a scummy boyfriend or whatever, like not a good person in that sense. But I don't know, I don't know Ben that well. I don't know what his,
That's next video.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get him on the channel. Like,
wow. Imagine.
Ben, can you come on to react to the Taylor stream?
It'll be like when Ben had William Control on. Remember that? Turns out he's like anti-vax.
With that said, it is what it is, and that happened. So,
can you confirm?
Ben did that, and he was trying to cover it up. So after the stream...
Yeah, I can confirm that Ben cheated on the women he was with.
Got taken down and all that shit. TJ got really angry, really angry. And remember, there had already been turbulence up to this point, so, and I'll get into some of that. So he did a stream, or no, it was a video, where he announced the end of DP. So this immediately leaves Ben in a tough spot, because Ben did not want to end DP, and this just straight up halts his entire income. So he put up a stream called DP Season 2, which some of you may remember, and this was immediately shut down by TJ. And why? because TJ was trying to stiff arm Ben into ending DP, so he made Ben buy him out. And the number I've heard was a pretty handsome chunk of change too. So when Ben tried putting up season 2, that was before that deal had been finalized for that whole thing. So that's why TJ yanked the whole project.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And this whole
So, and TJ announced that their company was ending before he had even discussed it with Ben, is my understanding.
That's really shitty.
thing will kind of sound familiar later. So this is also around the time that TJ forced Ben to sign an NDA as a part of this deal.
You know, and to my knowledge, there is an NDA. And I think that we should all call for TJ to release Ben from his NDA. Just saying. That there does seem to be an NDA, and TJ should release him from the NDA.
Ben cannot publicly comment about shit, and neither can TJ. So this has led to like a Cold War of sorts, and this video here is basically...
I don't know if TJ is also under an NDA. I'm not sure.
Some rogue state starting a nuclear war.
Yeah.
A gag order.
Yeah, it is a gag order.
You can't make fun of me.
Well, you can't. Well, you
That's
can't
it.
specifically talk about like this
Because you see,
and it sort of like handicaps him, so he can't defend himself from the rape allegations.
over all my years of involvement, I've never signed any NDA. I've never signed any NDA yet. I know a lot of shit, and this is why I think TJ fears me and has been avoiding me for a while. This is why he has tried so hard to cover up and has changed his channel name at the time of releasing this, and because I know a lot.
Into the fray.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I think that TJ is just on his own like ego journey and has decided that his new name is Frey, and he's changed his, you know, genders and names and everything to just as you do on a Wednesday.
And I can say whatever I want. And all
As
this
a
is also
chaos
why
mage,
some
yeah.
people credit Brett Keane with supposedly ending DP. Yeah, that's not the case. DP ended DP, and Brett's video was a catalyst at best. So, Chapter 3.
I don't think that's accurate to say. I think that, you know, Brett, it could have been anything. I think that regardless of why that they broke, like that was TJ's excuse to end things, was that Ben took that down, right? But I think that that was going to happen no matter what. I mean, they had already moved back to Louisiana like months before, right? Like they had telegraphed the end of DP. Those of you who were around will remember. We could kind of see the end of DP coming for a couple months at that point.
I take a hard stance for restorative justice.
I forgot.
The love of your life here.
I have for a while.
No.
I take a hard stance on not demonizing people for things they can't help. I take a hard stance on recognizing that people are not their worst impulses. People are not even the worst thing that they've ever done.
Say the line.
People are human beings, capable of growth and change and love.
The demons are itching in her throat. Like
People are human beings that feel.
people are human beings that feel.
They have experiences, and
Say the line, Jamie.
all of them are
Zavaria.
hurting.
Lady Hopium.
And I don't want anyone who's hurting to continue hurting.
Emma. There
That
we go.
includes maps.
Yeah.
Say it all the time.
Yeah, you do say it a lot.
Edit that out. I dare you.
So what we're I don't know if he keeps it in here, but this little fucking episode that we're watching here, from those of you who don't know, this is Jamie Darkay. She is about to say that it's moral to role play with minor attracted persons as a minor, as a child, to help files get off by role playing as a child. I don't know if he leaves that in the video, but that's what the stream right here, where she's having her like weird fucking crazy psychotic breakdown. That's like what what she pulls out of the abyss. Okay.
That includes people that didn't ask to be attracted to minors but are. Who spend every fucking day desperately trying to survive with something that for a lot of people feels like a curse. That they will never escape. And then you get people who want to demonize. You get people who demonize maps who are actually also attracted to adults and seek out adult relationships with the
So he is going to leave it in here. Everyone listen to this.
relationships with consenting adults who are littles, and then want to say like, oh no, you're bad for wanting that, when
So for those of you who don't speak like internet deviant language, a little is an adult who has a sexual persona of being a child. How did I get that right, you think?
Why would you ask me? Why would I know all of this?
Bro, you know way more about this shit than I do.
I no comment, but you are correct.
Okay, thank you.
They don't get to stop wanting. You don't get to stop being attracted to what you're attracted to.
The person on screen now is someone you may have heard of if you've been around. They are most commonly known nowadays as Jamie Darkay. And remember how I said I would highlight my own biases? Yeah, now's the time to do that. I am very unfortunately related to this person through marriage. So they are my wife's eldest sibling. And because of that, I've witnessed who this person really is. But my reason for bringing them up is not because I don't like them or because I want to bash on them or something. This person is like a puzzle piece that will tie a lot of this together.
Yes. So we're going to learn that Jamie Darkay, well, we'll get to it. Those of you who already know what probably what's coming up here. But yeah, and Marshall is Jamie Darkay's brother-in-law too, is what we've learned. I wonder if he lives with her in the polycule.
And before I go into how, I think I should go into who we are dealing with here first. So Jamie, which is one of many names because they have had...
I don't know if we'll leave all this in here because I have no idea about the shit he talks about. This is his personal story. I haven't ever seen evidence for this outside of this video. All this specific thing here.
Literal dozens of names over the years.
That's true. She has gone by dozens of names over the years. We know that.
Easily the absolute worst person I've ever met in my life. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I really mean that with no hyperbole at all. You know, anyone with 2 brain cells can tell that this person is like clearly not stable or any kind of reliable source of information. See, here are pictures of how they left my apartment after they trashed the place, broke my stuff, took all the batteries out of the smoke detectors.
Wait, why? Wait, what does that mean? Is that for like crack or what? Why would you take all the batteries out of the smoke detectors? What's the
Probably
point
for
of
crack.
that?
I don't know.
Wait,
It's still a better kept house than Shanty for Christ and the Rev. Probably to also prevent it from going off.
It is unlikely that someone would steal batteries from smoke detectors. They typically use 9-volt batteries, which are not valuable enough to be stolen. Right.
Case closed.
Yeah, this doesn't make... Well, whatever. This is giving
You're rationalizing the mind of a mad person.
Yeah, maybe. She just went on a crazy spree.
And then they fucking skipped town. You can see how they left it. All the bottles from their drinking all the time. None of which they fucking paid for. And Jamie, because I know you're watching, if you're thinking about starting some shit with me after this for the views and the negative attention, I have so much more proof against you of so many things. Like, I could do an entire series about you. So you should probably just go cry somewhere. And better yet, be a fucking decent person for once in your life and delete those videos I'll be talking about. I asked my wife's permission to talk about all this, and she has said it's okay with certain parameters. So Jamie has what she referred to as an incestuous nature. Remember, Jamie is my wife's oldest sibling, someone they grew up together, right? And there was recently somebody that Jamie grew up with. I'm not going to spill too many details out of respect to people, but recently somebody that Jamie grew up with confronted them.
So, I mean, this is all got to be public, right? Like, we can publicly find, not that we should, nobody should go do this, but, like, I mean, it's kind of weird saying this publicly on this platform when you're a known figure and people probably know who your wife is and shit.
As an adult, right?
Probably.
And Jamie basically admitted to everything, doubled down, and my wife said they admitted to, quote, always being attracted to their sisters, one of which is still like 17. They've always made her feel uncomfortable in various ways, and done worse to this unnamed family member. And that's all I'm going to say is remember that, in my opinion, it is completely laughable and hypocritical for this person to call anyone a predator. And TJ definitely knows that I know about this person's dirt, and that's another reason he doesn't want you to watch this, because I'm going to expose all this. So you, like a lot of people, maybe asking yourself, yeah, like, what the fuck was up with that? Why was that person always given the time of day by TJ, like, so consistently? That is because Jamie is a completely just sycophantic weirdo.
Right. And that's something that you and I have observed watching her old content. You know, sometimes we'll do warm-up streams and react to like shorter videos to kind of like warm up for these. And we've watched a few of like the very old Jamie Darkay videos with like less than 100 views on them. And you can tell
British accent Darkay.
Yeah, back in the
Darkay.
Yeah, British accent Darkay. You can tell that this is someone who's just completely vacuous and he's just looking to fill that infinite void with whatever personality they can glom onto.
They copy the personality of others when they get obsessed with them, and
Yeah.
my wife has even confirmed they've
Yeah.
always done this, like, ever since they were a kid. And TJ was one of these people. Like, Jamie would talk like TJ, copy everything TJ said, like, just
Now, Kamala's right about one thing.
the out-and-out definition of a complete pathetic sycophant. And many of you have even witnessed them fake a British accent for years. They did that
Can confirm. So there are some things we can confirm in this section, I guess.
in private too, by the way. and then just pretended it didn't happen, and then eventually, whatever, they're so ridiculous. So
Well, now they pretend like it's one of their personalities.
they're an insane liar, and TJ needed
Yes.
somebody with all these qualities, if he was going to be able to do what he wanted to do. He needed somebody weak and feckless that is easy to control and bully with no morals or real identity of their own, and Jamie encompasses all of that. What am I referring to here? Well, before I go into chapter 3, I just need to make something perfectly
Well, we're in chapter 3, bro.
crystal clear. I don't take what I'm about to say lightly at all, okay? And I believe that you should believe victims of assault and try to help them and do what you
Well, you should neither believe or disbelieve, someone who makes an accusation. You should treat it seriously, and you should investigate the accusation. It's important that we not have faith and that we're guided by reason when we're trying to discover what's true.
But I really believe that what I'm about to say happened, and because of that, and I know I'm sticking my neck out here with full knowledge of the seriousness of what I'm saying, and speaking the truth that nobody else is even legally able to tell you.
So we're getting to it now.
Chapter 4. So at some point, Jamie Darkey, the person who said this,
And I don't want anyone who's hurting to continue hurting.
That includes maps.
That includes
Maps.
you get people who demonize
Oh my,
maps
bro,
who
come on, not the whole clip. Do we need to do the whole
are actually
clip again?
also attracted to adults.
and has done all
So does that mean that Jamie Darkey is a little? Is that that's what I took away from that?
the things that I've mentioned before.
I would not
plus
be surprised.
Much more. Released a stream wherein they did an interview with Scotty's wife, which some of you may be unaware is actually Ben's ex-girlfriend. Taylor was with Ben. That's Ben.
So to say she was Ben's ex-girlfriend is kind of a lot. So Taylor and Ben met in person like one time in Santa Fe prior to her getting together with Scotty. The relationship was almost entirely online through like Facebook Messenger, from what I can tell. Taylor, after their meeting in Santa Fe, had requested that, or it seemed like she had wanted Ben to fly her out to Seattle, and he declined. I wouldn't say, in my opinion, I don't know what, I guess the only people who would really have any value in determining that would be Taylor and Ben themselves. But if I'm just looking from the outside, they probably weren't like in an actual relationship. I don't know.
Ben's ex-girlfriend that Scotty's married to. So, in my opinion, she was kind of just clout hopping, and it didn't work out with Ben for whatever reason. I don't really know. And then
Yeah, I'm not going to speculate on that.
on Ben's birthday as well. And when I mentioned that to my wife, she piped up and said, that's so Jamie, and which is exactly what I thought. And personally, I could be wrong, but I definitely agree that was probably Jamie's decision. Like maybe Taylor brought it up or something, but it's just so malicious and petty. It's just so Jamie, it really is.
Right. So he's referring to the fact that that stream was released on Ben's birthday that year, 2021. And I don't know if we'll get into it now in this video if he brings it up, but that specific, not only that day being Ben's birthday, but that specific time frame is interesting for a couple of reasons.
So in this stream, it was claimed that Ben drugged and assaulted Taylor. It is my opinion, after everything I've come to know and overheard, after
I ain't bleeping shit for you guys.
everyone I've spoken to and everything I've read, that this is a fabrication
Unless it's like a crime or something, if I say it.
designed to assassinate Ben's character and destroy DP. And again, I do not take what I'm saying lightly, so please know I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't truly believe it. And in these screenshots here, which were leaked back when this happened, you can see that both before and after.
So he's showing the DMs, right? So
Right.
this is, let's see if we can. Okay.
Which were leaked back when.
So Taylor, Ben is in blue here. So this is May 3rd of 2017. The alleged rape would have had to have happened like in February, I think, of this year.
Both before and after the supposed.
So this is from like right after their meetup, I believe.
Was a date of this incident. Everything seems fine. Now, people can respond to trauma differently. So am I saying this is 100% proof that she's lying? No. But given everything you've seen from the first video.
So no, so this isn't, so those, he didn't even show like the good shit. Hold on.
The good shit.
Well, there's DMs where Taylor is asking Ben to fuck her on LSD, which, like, you wouldn't say that to someone that you thought date raped you, right?
No.
I don't know. Like, you wouldn't take drugs like that with someone that you thought was a rapist. So that in to me, that seems to invalidate her belief that she was raped by this person. If she's trying to hang out with him again, have him fly her out to Seattle and to sleep with her on LSD. So there's those DMs too that are part of that weren't shown here. So that doesn't mean that Taylor's lying for sure, but that does show that she remembered their encounter and she was an enthusiastic participant in what happened in continuing this relationship.
No, but given everything you've seen from the first video up until the end of this video, I want you to ask yourself, does it really seem implausible? Does everything I'm saying really sound like completely made up and implausible? I'll leave you to ponder that yourself. I also think it's a little weird that they are talking about events that they shouldn't remember. So,
yeah,
right,
and right, we're not going to go into that here. Like I said, if we do the stream, which then we'll go into all everything he's talking about. But just briefly, what he's referring to is that Taylor claims to have blacked out, but also remembers things from the time she was blacked out, basically.
Encourage every last person listening to what I'm saying, and this is a big one, seriously. I want, take note. Every person watching this, I want you to go back and watch Paul's debate with Jamie Darkey, and watch the things that are said, the looks that are exchanged, the things that are unsaid with this context that you have now. And you'll see things starting to make sense. Like, for example, why the fuck would Paul go on DP if he thought Ben was Taylor?
Right. And that's another thing too. It's that Paul basically has publicly said he doesn't want to be associated with the accusations. He doesn't know what happened. If something did happen, there should have been a police report. Instead, the accusations were released on like a salacious stream that opens with a 4-minute cringe rap, like before they premiere the rape allegations for everyone, like it's a show. Paul's mentioned that. Paul has been on DP several times since this. He's openly, publicly talked about it. He doesn't seem to believe it. Allegedly, TJ, he invited Ben, and they talk about this publicly on that stream. He invited Ben to a DFF meetup. And if that is true, that indicates that TJ doesn't believe the accusations either, because there's no reason that, it wouldn't make any sense for TJ to invite Ben to a meetup where his sister-in-law, who was by him previously, would be, right? So there are a lot of these inconsistencies.
Like, seriously, guys, I'm telling the truth. Why the fuck would Paul ever go on DP if he thought Ben...
This is why it's important that we don't live in a post-truth world, and we actually do try to establish, what happened. We try our best to look for evidence and to see what the evidence suggests, and to defer to that, and to try to use our reason and critical thinking instead of our emotions and what we want to believe.
...was an essayer. It makes no fucking sense. And I'm not the only person who pointed out either. Also, and this is a big bombshell that I've learned, the girl that TJ sent photos to, when the underage girl from the first video, is now, in current day, Ben's girlfriend, which means that...
Right. Yeah,
TJ
that's another... Which I'm not going to get into. That's not really relevant to this. What Marshall is talking about is that TJ allegedly, and I've seen the evidence for this too, and it seems accurate, but... Again, that's his criticism he can make. It seems like TJ randomly sent a bunch of Vore comics to people, some of whom were, at least one of whom was an underage girl.
Sent pictures to Ben's current girlfriend when she was underage, and he can't even talk about it. And I posted the proof of that.
Right, and Ben can't talk about it because of the NDA.
So Ben has been legally silenced from speaking about this. The other thing is, I also think that there might be some rumors that played into a level of hatred that TJ and Scotty had for Ben. So back when DP first split up, there were a lot of people spilling dirt on both sides, via alts on Reddit. Sound familiar? And just, on different subreddits.
Familiar?
It's Paul. It's been Paul this whole time.
I mean, why else would he be so hard on projecting that every alt is a Spino alt? If it wasn't for their tendency
It's always
to do this.
him. It's always him too.
What if Amy is here is actually Paul?
Dude, that's what I was saying in the server. I was like, I think this is Paul. Like in the same way that Norman Bates wears his mom's clothes. I think this is Paul pretending to be his wife, complaining about him on Reddit.
They're probably not around anymore. And one of the rumors that I can actually confirm is that Chelsea and Ben one time had relations that I will not specify. Because
yeah, that seems to be the case also.
Basically, they were at a party, and she was mad at TJ for fooling around in the other room, some guys. So that is one of those I know for sure happened. It's definitely a reason, in my opinion, for TJ to.
There are multiple people who know about this.
Not like Ben. I mean, come on. This is also why some of you may remember hearing a rumor that there was an incident where Chelsea kicked Ben out of their house during a fight. That's true, and the source of that fight was the incident I just mentioned. And the other thing, in my opinion, is that Scotty's kind of like this insecure dude who compensates with a really tough exterior.
Do you want to comment on that?
Source, the last like couple of streams especially. Holy
Kick
fuck.
your
like,
ass.
Oh my god. Everything he says like reeks of insecurity. Like Scotty used to never talk. And like everything he says is just like some sort of lashing out. And like the whole like bitch boy like slap fight that Paul and Scotty had was just two insecure men like
Why are you judging them for their moment of fragile masculinity?
And having Taylor, who's a beautiful woman, is something he's very proud of as a man. Okay, so it's probably not nice knowing that this guy's had relations with both your wife and your brother's wife. And this is a major conflict of interest that I believe plays into their motives. They were 100% involved in Jamie's streams, like in my opinion. And look, to Taylor, if I'm wrong, which I'm not, but let's say I am, you have my sincere apology.
Yeah, and we don't know, right? Like, we don't know for sure. We can just defer to the best evidence that we have.
This is also sort of what happens when you involve yourself with people like Jamie Darkey, okay, scumfucks, people like TJ. You should have called the police.
This one's just for me.
When I released part 1, there started to develop like...
Interesting choice of background.
oh, I get it. I didn't get it the first time I watched this.
Wanting me
Of
to
course.
like take down Paul. And if you want my opinion, regardless of like whether or not I like the way that he's treated me in the past, I don't know if any of these factors like could have been affecting that. I'd like you to all please take into consideration as well a very important factor when it comes to Paul and his potential knowledge of the events that I've covered, and this is something that I hadn't considered at first. Paul most likely has some kind of NDA, definitely from the DP split.
I think Paul has publicly said he's not under an NDA.
Well,
I don't know if he has.
Someone who's under an NDA would say that.
Yeah, but even if he, well, not necessarily. You're allowed to tell people you're in an NDA.
Given the way the TJ
Unless you're a
operates,
very
so
private person, he says.
Yeah.
whether it's one from the past or a new one, he's got to be under an NDA.
There's no evidence that Paul's under an NDA, other than Marshall's speculation here. Well, let me say that I've never seen evidence that Paul is also under an NDA.
Yeah, so he might literally just not be able to talk about all this. He might not be able to publicly comment at all. So try to take it a bit easy on him with that in mind.
Or it's probably just not in his self-interest to do so, right? Like, let's be real. Like,
I kind of think that throughout all of this, Paul really tried to be a peacemaker, and it just didn't work. I was supposed to perform at a meetup in New York. Actually, I'm assuming still going to happen. Paul actually invited Ben to that meetup. It was going to be basically, it was going to be a reunion. Which again, why would you invite Ben to somewhere Taylor and Scotty are going to be if he has a...
That's what I'm referring to.
Taylor's makes no fucking sense. You guys know it makes no sense. And there were even negotiations taking place. So, does that really sound like Ben is guilty?
I don't know how he has that knowledge, because...
From what I understand, Ben ended up turning it down because, I can't...
Well, Ben has publicly said on the stream with Paul why he turned it down.
Blame him. Why would you want to go to the meetup where people think you're an essayer? Especially if the person who made it up is there? No, you wouldn't. And he didn't. So his actions make sense, and it lends further credence to what I'm saying. And some people, they may want to know, well, why doesn't Paul just quit? If you want my opinion, he probably does want to quit, at least sometimes. I've heard him say on stream before, on Poltergeist, that, sometimes he just thinks about quitting this shit, going to get a regular job, and, but then he always decides against it, And I also recall not too long ago...
Yeah, dude, having a regular job sucks fucking donkey dick.
Someone asking if... there's also Cinema for Cynics, which Paul's mentioned a few times that TJ and him are still in negotiations, after years now.
Dude, they've been in negotiations for Cinema for Cynics for fucking, since 2022 or something? Some crazy shit like that.
It's never going to happen.
They are going
that sucks, dude. Paul, that could have been Paul's out, right?
Yeah.
To divide ownership of CFC, and that they haven't, quote, figured out what that looks like yet. Sound familiar? Yeah. See, I personally think that TJ has been holding Cinema for Cynics over Paul's head so that he can't leave.
It's possible that part of their contract is that Paul can't start a new channel. Because I would just say, just start a new film channel, start a new film review channel. At this point, I understand that Cinema for Cynics had millions of views, but you can't, right? For whatever reason, you can't do it. So start a new channel.
Leave. Or at least he's less likely to, because other than the Poltergeist, CFC is his only other immediate jumpstart. And because of TJ, he can't pursue that channel. You see what I'm saying? So even though I don't like that Paul would pretty much...
I don't know if that's true.
And then not the other.
The only thing we know is that the guys have publicly said it's held up in business negotiations or whatever. I don't know anything about it other than that. Yeah, you can imagine.
I believe that TJ framed Ben and tried to sabotage DP. It failed, Paul attempted to mend the relationship, it failed, and now TJ is holding CFC over his head so he can't leave at this point, because I really doubt Paul wants to stay around. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt he does. Now you all know, and it's up to you how much of this you believe, but this is the truth as an insider. And hopefully, now that you do know what's going on, you watching this can now go out into your community and have these discussions with each other about what you believe the truth to be, or these just topics in general. And the
Okay, so
presentation
this is
video,
winding down now. Now, here's the thing. I'm at a crossroads with this channel, right? Because I feel this impetus to make these good political videos that attack TJ on like his philosophy, right? Like my whole thing is to go after why I think TJ's thoughts are really dumb and destructive. That's sort of what I'm interested in attacking, is his, what I see as like just his terrible epistemology, his horrible world philosophy. That's what I want to go after. And the same with Paul too, right? Like I want to criticize Paul because he's a destructive force politically, I feel. He's a fake ally. He's counterproductive to our progressive goals, right? And I think there's a lot of importance to that, and there's a lot of value to that. But there's also this aspect of things too, where there's this drama, and to me it's very interesting. Like it's in the kitty nipples genre of videos, right? It's interesting to me to delve into this drama, and I would love to do a stream going through all my evidence and, you know, kind of like how I verified everything, similar to what we did with kitty nipples, or, you know, even the fucking Down syndrome in Norway one, where we like bit by bit do the research for the people, and like little by little we uncover what the truth is. Like I think, you know, I love doing that kind of stuff, and I do think that if Ben was falsely accused of this, like I do feel like some responsibility to put that out there so people have that to look at. Just another piece of like someone who's gone through all the evidence and who has the receipts for everything together in one place. I do feel like some kind of responsibility as someone who was a fan of DP, you know, to make sure that that side of it is out there. If Ben was falsely accused and has suffered serious repercussions for that, he deserves a defense from the community, right? But I don't know if that in some way is going to hurt the overall goal of what I really want the channel to be about, which is going to be more like philosophical, political. Like, I have a lot of ideas for where I want to take the channel and the different types of videos I want to do, but I'm also trying to figure out if this is something I want to cover. I'm thinking that I do. And ultimately, with the channel, I have to do what I'm inspired to do, right? Maybe next time we'll delve into that more. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments how you feel about that. Like, do you think that that's something we should look at? Is that something you're interested in? Do you feel like it's just completely inappropriate to speculate on that? I am interested in hearing what you guys feel about that. But thank you for watching.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Have a good night.
Peace the fuck out.